Hello loves, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be breaking down the full moon in Capricorn. Okay, that is happening on the 21st. There's a lot to discuss, so we're going to jump in. We're going to start with the planetary positions, but before I forget, I am having a special on all of my services. All of my readings are 33% off, so if you need to book a session, you can use the code Leo Season to get 33% off, and it ends on the 24th, so definitely take advantage of it if you need a sesh. So with that being said, planetary positions: the sun will be in Cancer, moon in Capricorn, Mercury and Venus will be in Leo, Mars and Jupiter in Gemini, Saturn in Pisces in retrograde, Uranus in Taurus, Neptune in Pisces in retrograde, Pluto in Aquarius in retrograde. So lots of stuff going on. Oh my god, the energy and the messages that are coming through for this particular full moon are very blunt. I'm just gonna let you know that right now, okay? Starting off strong, the sun will be in an opposition to the moon. So because Cancer and Capricorn are opposite energies, there is this kind of mirroring effect that's going to happen, where it's like the emotions and the grounding, the way the water and the earth element are like mirroring each other. There's a sense of like, what do you need? What are you not receiving? What are you not taking? What are you allowing to, be taken from your life? How are you being allowed to be drained while not being properly grounded? There's a lot of energies and messages that are coming through. But there is some sense of your ego versus your emotions, like how you're feeling. If you're feeling like you're overgiving, if you're feeling like you are trying to navigate the kind of collective of energies and trying to navigate the intensities of emotions, while at the same time trying to maintain being grounded. Keep in mind that the moon is in its fall in Capricorn, which means that it cannot express itself properly, right? Opposite to Cancer. So there is this sense of like restriction emotionally. So while the sun is in Cancer, trying to kind of really feel through a lot of things emotionally, you might be seeking comfort, seeking groundedness, seeking nourishment. But there's also like a lot going on internally, trying to kind of navigate the currents and the waves. Okay, the sun is also in a trine with Neptune, so there is a sense of like feeling like you might feel like you need to cry. You've literally, and you know what's funny, one of the cards that came out, we're going to talk about the message tarot wise. We are going to talk about it. It's a pretty bold to your face message collectively, so I'm just saying. But the sun will be in a trine with Neptune. There is a lot going on emotionally. Really important time for a spiritual bath. Really important time to cleanse your energies and your spirit. Try your best to really, like, if you need to express emotion, or like if you're like you need kind of like a way to get stuff out, listen to music, watch a TV show, use the creative fields to really kind of navigate how you're feeling. Like, don't just like, this is a really great time to work with Pisces, water energy, Neptunian energy, to kind of like do some self-care and some self-love. So read a book, watch your favorite TV show, listen to a new album, a new song. This would be that time where you should be, tapping into the water element in a way that's like you can subconsciously pick up messages as well. And music and TV shows, creative works are really easy way to do that. Your intuition is also going to be very heightened for this particular moon, so also keep that in mind. Even though, again, it's in Capricorn, the fact that the water element and the way that the planets are connecting with each other, it is going to amplify that. The sun will be in an opposition to Pluto, so there might be something that you discover or that is revealed for this particular moon that like feels a little like too harsh, or feels like your ego is like, oh my god. There's a sense of kind of like pushing back on any truths that is revealed, anything that comes up that's like a little bit too, like you feel like it's too much or too exposing or too, you know, like it just feels too like you can't really, you got to process it slowly. There is a sense of discovering being manipulated, discovering being, you know, like especially like breaking narcissistic or gaslighting kind of cycles. Keep in mind out for that, because people will be exposed, like it'll be very, very clear. There is a sense of also the way that control is used. Like if you feel like you are not, like there's a sense of like liberation that you don't have, or there's a sense of like limitation or limited beliefs that you're kind of navigating or dealing with. You're going to kind of need to dive into that a little bit, how you're feeling, who has the control, why do you lack it, what are the causes, right? And this also goes deep into the government and everything that's happening politically, because there's a lot of stuff happening collectively as well. So you have to also keep in mind what's happening collectively, because Pluto is a generational planet, so it is impacting us collectively, as all the planets are, but the generational planet specifically will have things popping up for the collective energies for all of us to deal with in different ways. And so there's a lot of it where it's very much like a checking point for us, in order for us to understand what we're doing, what is being allowed, how we're dealing with it, how we're moving forward, all of these things. We also have the moon in a trine with Mars. So there might be a point where if you do get in some sort of argument, or there's an issue, or even when it comes to like, and this goes hand specific to the reading itself, because part of it is like, hey, you said you wanted to do this X, Y, Z, and B, but you haven't really worked on it. Like, what's going on? What's up? What's up? Why did you know, what are you committing to? How are you working on that commitment? What efforts are you putting towards that? How are you going to move forward from here into making that a reality? There is a sense of like, okay, if you're emotionally feeling like, you know what, I haven't had time to do this, I haven't had time to do X, Y, Z, and B, where's the passion? Are you passionate about the ideas and intentions that you set in place when you set them? Like, are you still passionate about those things? You might need to revisit some of the seeds that you've planted and see if you even still want to water them. Because if you haven't been watering those seeds properly, then either say, you know what, I don't actually want this, and move to something else, or you're going to have to recommit yourself to those goals and those dreams. The moon is also on a trine with Uranus, so there might be some chaotic energies, and there might also be some fighting energies. Like, be careful when it comes to collective spaces, because some people are feeling very combative, and that's not easy to deal with all of the time. Some people are actively like trying to look for something, trying to look for something to get angry about, to ruin the energy about, or trying to make certain things personal, where it doesn't need to be. In mirroring that, there are some people that are going to be able to tap into what the collective needs are in order to create changes. So it could be a good thing depending on the situation and what collective we're talking about. It can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing, but there is a sense of chaos, and there's a sense of, you know what, feeling drained, feeling tired, and from that comes change. So also keep that in mind. The moon will also be in conjunction to Pluto, so there's definitely conflicts going on, especially collective conflicts, as far as like agreeing, politics, social issues, things happening internationally. Like, there's so much going on, and it can be, you know, it can be very intense, and there's a lot of intense transformations happening right now. Keep in mind that Pluto is in Aquarius, that it's the sign of like revolution, evolution, chaos, upgrade. Like, there's a lot, the collective consciousness, there's a lot of tiredness that's going on. Like, a lot of people are just like up and ready to just, okay. And so with that chaos comes a lot of emotional tension. So make sure you're also like, you know, taking your breaks and self-caring when you need to self-care, because there's a lot of things happening collectively where it can literally just take too much of your peace to the point where you're just like, I feel so collectively drained that personally I feel like I cannot feel watered right now because of all of the things happening collectively. There are times where the things happening in our personal lives impact us so much that we feel drained, but then there's other times where the things that are happening collectively impact us so much that we feel drained. So you need to make sure that you're also being mindful of that. Mercury will be in a square with Mars. So yes, some people will be popping off. So please, 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 please be mindful. And, you know, listen, this is one of those times where if your intuition's telling you to run or walk away from something, just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Ask for the clarity later, but just do it. Because there is a sense of combative energy. Some people are going to be like, this is pre-shadow phase, Mercury retrograde, like pre-shadow phase energies. Like it's giving, I kind of want to fight. It's giving, I want to, I'm just going to curse you out of the blue. It's giving like, I'm just going to start something, or I'm going to take something out on you. Okay. Certain people are going to be coming out of left field. So you need to be very careful. Because certain people are going to try to be manipulative, and for some they're going to cast some hands, or for some they're going to meet their maker in a way where it's just like, there's some people that are not going to be taking that. But there's a lot of verbal talk, but the actions are also like, you're saying something, but are you doing it? Are you working on it? So also keep that in mind. Mercury is also in a square with Uranus. So there are consequences for the things being said. And there is a sense of chaos from things being said. And this is happening a lot on social media, I notice, when it comes to just conversations happening right now that are creating a lot of chaos. There is a sense of trying to do certain things differently, but at the same time, like not being mindful enough to the collective consciousness and how it will be taken, where it's just ends up blowing up in people's faces. So be very mindful with your social media communication. Like double make sure that it's not going to be triggering, because you could believe in something, right? But then it's like, when you think about it, it's kind of like, wait, is this the right thing for me to like post or do or whatnot at this time? Okay, so this is a really good time not to like poke the bear. Mars is also going to be in conjunction to Uranus, so there is a sense of like this focus on your own individuality, this focus on your own personality, this focus on your own way of thinking and your perspective, which can literally lead to a lot of really very interesting conversations. But again, keep in mind that there are some people that are going to be combative. So if you are trying to make a point about something, you better make sure that you can stand 10 toes in what you're saying, because some people will be looking to, you know, find the thing to kind of poke at instead of actually listening to what you're saying. So also pay attention to that. Mars will be in a trine with Pluto. Okay, so when I tell you that there is a sense of like your actions are transformative, there's something that's happening within this particular full moon where it's just kind of like, if you have not been actively putting in the work, it's going through the death process. You have to release it at this point. This is like, okay, and it came out in the tarot. We're going to talk about it in a second. But there is a sense of like putting in the work, or you said you were going to put in the work, but you haven't been. So it's like, what have you been doing? And then you're going to try to make yourself feel bad about it or find excuses. Like, no, you said this is what you're going to do. So why aren't you working on it? Right. So keep that in mind. Uranus is also in a trine with Pluto. So, the chaos and especially the energy of like, hey, I needed to do X, Y, C, and B, or this is my goal, this is my focus, this is what I want to do, this is what, you know, I specifically set intention for, but then not working on it. Absolutely not. Bottom of the deck, we have the Saturn energy. First of all, Queen of Pentacles, Page of Swords, 7 of Pentacles, and then the World card. Literally Saturn energy all of the way. There's a sense of like, you said you were going to put in the work for this, okay, but where is it? Okay, you said, but where is the work? Where was it placed? I can't find it. I don't see it. I cannot locate the work that was said to have been placed. So another thing that is happening, especially with Pluto, is the way the ancestors are checking in. There are going to be kind of like this checking point of like, hey, you asked us to help you with this, but like, you haven't actually been working on this thing that you said you wanted to work on. If anything, it kind of like if you're at a point where you gave yourself a goal or something and you're like, you know what, I really wanted to focus on this, but then you're not working on it, but then you're not making an effort, but then it's like, you're not putting any time in, you're not going to see any fruits to your labor. You're not going to see it. And so if anything, the frustration of not getting it done is creating more discomfort and more like, oh, am I ever going to do this? I'm never going to do this. I'm going to, and that's very dangerous to do while Jupiter's in Gemini, by the way. And then we have the 2 of Pentacles in reverse and the Page of Wands. So this is really when the ancestors are saying like, hey, so this hasn't gone anywhere. This intention, this thing that you asked us, you said you wanted this, but it hasn't gone anywhere. So maybe this is a time for us to release. Maybe this is a time for us to not continue to spend time. Maybe you need a reset. Like, maybe you need to release this intention. Maybe this is not what you want to do. Maybe you need to just put it on pause and maybe you'll come back to it another time. But you cannot continue like the way that this particular full moon in Capricorn is like, if you have not been putting in the work, okay, if you said intention, you literally said, oh my God, I want to do this. But then you're not doing it. Then it's not going to go anywhere. And that's kind of the problem. The problem is talk is cheap. And the Capricorn energy is like, okay, where's the action? Where's the action? Where's your action? And the way that Mars is like just playing a role, it's just like, hey, where's the action? So like the way that Pluto is coming up, okay, is like, well, you haven't been doing the thing, so you're gonna have to refocus on something else, because there's other things coming within the next upcoming months, and as we're navigating retrograde season, that you just can't sit here and continue to waste time. So let's not waste time. Let's not do that. Let's just refocus and, you know, focus on something else. Okay. For our oracle cards, we have distance, turbulence, reward. Because the thing is that if you have been putting in the work, you're going to be seeing progress. It's the people that have not been putting in the work that are going to be a little bit like stuck and like who are going to need to do that release. Then you have empathy, pragmatism, and acceptance. And this really comes down to like, okay, you know what? Maybe I should just kind of accept the fact that this is not going to go anywhere and just kind of move on, because it is what it is. We have perfection, spirals, and growth. Because some people are stuck in a loop, and it's kind of like at this point, it's like you have to give yourself a chance, or you're going to have to just like let it go. You have to, like, you have to either grow, or you're going to feel like you're spiraling. You're going to feel like it's like you're going to feel like you're not really doing it or succeeding, or you're going to feel like you're not achieving the thing. Like, what is it that you're trying to achieve? What is the point? What is the purpose? What is it? Okay. And if you know what it is and you haven't put in the work, maybe you need to revisit. what that looks like and what you're going to focus on. Then you have guidance, solitude, and safety, because again, full moon in Capricorn, Saturn, anytime he checks in, it's just about you feeling grounded and that sense of security that you need to have in whatever you do. That's the reason. And so we have divine timing, because this is that point of the year where it's like, hey, we're checking in. We're basically halfway through the year, right? We're checking in right before we get to Capricorn season, right? And so there's this sense of, before we get to that point where everybody's self-judging and really like, oh my God, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. There's this sense of like, hey, let's revisit, because I don't want you to get to Capricorn season and then be regretting your choices. So let us revisit. Let us do that. Then we have shadow self. And for some people, all of that chaos and combativeness, that's really gonna bring that out. And then we have peace, because it's really about, again, coming back to center. So this is a checkpoint. This is going to be as I always say, F your feelings moment when it comes to Saturn's energy. And it's just like a, hey, what are we doing? What are you going to continue to do? Let us not sit in this energy. Like, this is not going to work. Okay, so that is the collective reading, my loves. I will see y'all in the next video. You have a blessed day.